Helcom, Helcom, Helcom. This is the ninth circle of hell, and we are here today to capture a red angel.
More like a bread angel.
More like a bread angel. Yeah, I don't think I'm disappointed with the red angel. Oh, shit. I got to make sure I'm not in earshot of my girlfriend. She hasn't seen this yet. I don't know if I'm disappointed about the red angel.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Yeah, so this is Lewis, and that's
Richard.
And we're here as Clever Orbits to talk about the red angel.
That's right.
It was an okay episode. I mean, like, not all of them can be perfect, and this one was an example of kind of perfunctory, like, all right, we got to do this next thing, and
it was a huge reveal.
Yeah, I mean, that was the central thrust of the episode. Now, it remains to be seen whether or not that turns out to be as interesting as we hope it would be. I mean, I like the Section 31 stuff.
So at first they thought it was Michael Burnham in the Red Angel suit. And I was like, yeah, I got that pre-registered prediction in our last podcast. And then it turns out it's her mother. So what happened?
I don't know. How does that even work?
Like, maybe there's multiple people getting in the suit?
Yeah, the Penske
maybe it's
guy
the whole Burnham family.
Maybe they take turns. And then maybe there's a spin-off called the Burnham Family Chronicles.
Or just the Burnhams.
The Burnhams. And, like, you get a couple of episodes of them just, like, being stuck in the Triassic. Like,
yeah,
building huts and stuff. I mean, I guess, maybe. I do like the suit. And I do like, I liked the reveal. You know what I think would actually solve all the problems of the people in this show?
I can think of a couple solutions.
Well, I think if everybody in Section 31 practiced examining themselves 3 times daily for moral failure.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I had in mind.
I knew it was.
Or 31 times a day.
I'm trying to exhaust every possible meme that we have not used between us yet.
I'm sure we've used that one.
I don't think we've used that here yet. But
so did Leland really deserve to get beaten up there? I mean, so Leland reveals that he was responsible for assigning Burnham's parents to the place where they got killed. I really don't see him as responsible for them being killed. Like, I've never, my parents are alive. I've never encountered someone who indirectly resulted in the death of my parents, but I don't think I would beat that person up for, like, assigning them to a place where they happen to die.
Yeah, she was just, like, acting. So in the scale of emotional harmonics in Mastery Systems, if you release shame, guilt, fear, you shift upwards into anger. And so,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they necessarily honor that system here on the show, but, like, she had a release of all of her own guilt. You could see it on her face, which, like, her facial expressions are like, hers and Stamets are like the star of this show.
Yeah.
At least the GIF and meme stars of this show. I mean, like, you could see so much moving through her. And, like, anyway, it's crazy. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I like that she moved up scale, basically. And I understand it, and I understand her being angry. And I don't think it's, like, the best thing to do. I don't think the Picard would have done that. I mean,
no.
Kirk might have. Kirk probably would have, actually. But, anyway, Burnham's Burnham and Kirk's Kirk, so whatever. I also felt like, Leland is actually sympathetic. Coming from his angle, I mean, he feels bad because he didn't do his job well enough, basically. But you're right. It wasn't like something horrific. It's
not like he strangled them with his hands or opened up an airlock and blasted them out.
Exactly.
It's like if you're the leader of a military organization, some of the people you order into places are going to get randomly killed. And if you can't handle that, you shouldn't be the head of a military organization.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like that in this case, he expressed real empathy to Burnham. Like, he was ashamed of delivering the information that he was delivering. He was looking away from her. He had trouble looking her in the eye. I mean, so he was kind of inviting that he felt he enacted guilty. And other people have said this. I think I agree with it. This episode was light on the philosophy. It was heavy on the character and heavy on the plot. Mm-hmm. And the characterizations were done well.
I mean, there's the whole sort of predestination paradox used to entrap a being from the future. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting. I'm not sure that it worked. It should not have worked because the being was not actually Burnham.
Yeah, like, exactly. I was so when they described their plan, my thought process was, does this make sense? And I wrote down in my notes, this doesn't make sense. And then I thought, no, actually, it makes more sense than any trap that's ever been devised in history, because in order for that angel to exist in the future, she has to save herself in the past. Like, with probability 1, with like mathematical certainty, she has to save her. And so that was a cool like little thought process I went through there when I realized this is actually a very good trap. And then, nope, it's not actually her. But maybe, they said it was her otherwise. Maybe they like mistook her mother for her because they've got similar DNA, or I don't know what.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it was a mistake. I think Burnham also occupies the suit at some point.
Yeah, or will occupy it.
Or will occupy it. And if Burnham dies, then Burnham doesn't come back in time to do all these other things that need to get done, like visiting Spock on that ice planet or saving young Burnham or whatever and all this other stuff. So, like, it was equivalent to a grandfather paradox in that, what's her name? Burnham's mother knew she had to go back and save Burnham so that Burnham could do all these other things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, probability is not quite 1 anymore, but I suppose it's high.
I guess it still follows that something would have happened to save her, whether it was the angel coming or them just calling off the experiment.
Yeah, I mean, logically.
Like Burnham was able to know with certainty that she wasn't going to die. Also, how come they killed her in such a painful way? Like the trap doesn't require her to be in pain.
Way.
It doesn't require her to be in pain. How about they just, put her under and, like give her a lethal injection or, get some carbon monoxide in there, something that's going to do a nice painless death.
Technically carbon monoxide, well, if it had just been carbon monoxide, yeah, you're right. Why wasn't it just painless?
I mean, I get it for the drama, and like maybe the idea is that her pain is like so intense that it's screaming throughout the fabric of time and calling the angel there or something. But that's not logically required. The logic extremists would not do this.
or do you speak for them now?
I always have.
You're their card-carrying representative. That's great.
That's right.
So, I mean, I was sympathetic to Leland, as I said. Georgiou, weirdly, became a little bit sympathetic. It was a little bizarre to me. Not in the scene where she's talking about, like, pansexual Stamets from another universe.
What a cringe scene. Sometimes in this show, I get the sense that the people on this ship have just, like, the emotional intelligence of middle schoolers. And, yeah, that scene was, yeah.
It was kind of difficult getting that version of Georgiou at the same time as we get this one who's basically sort of taking on being a mentor to Burnham. I mean, like, or like Burnham was my surrogate child or something, that whole thing. I mean, like, so anyway, which we'll see where that goes and what that looks like and how that works. Of course, the moment of compassion was the funeral with the eulogy, the collective eulogy. I like that.
I like the part where they lifted off Ariam's head case and you saw her brain there. I like that. I wish this episode was called Ariam's Brain.
Yeah, of course they immediately deleted all the contents of her brain. Because they were afraid of Control. And it's interesting, like, there's some conversation to have around Control, like she's, or it, whatever. Control, I think, took over Sloane at the end of the episode. I think that's what happened. Or just killed Sloane. Excuse me, not Sloane, Leland.
Yeah, I was about to say, I missed something big.
If Sloane from DS9.
I was just thinking, oh my God. How did I miss this?
Yeah, Sloane was the leader of Section 31 of Deep Space Nine.
Well, Leland is dressed like Sloane. Here, so these leather Section 31 uniforms, like, they're not even uniforms. Like, the thing Georgiou has all these little, like, spike button things on it. Do they just, like, say wear leather? Is that the uniform? Any leather you want?
So long as it's black. So long as it's black leather. So, during the moment of compassion of the episode, like where I was listening to the funeral, basically, and really feeling for Ariam, I noticed a couple things. Number one, what's funny about this show is technically there are no red shirts. And so people wearing red shirts don't die. In fact, no one has a red shirt. The only person to die in the way that a red shirt could have this season that I'm aware of was a guy wearing literally a blue shirt, interestingly. So anyway, that's just a nice...
They're all blue, right?
Yeah, they're literally all blue. And I hope they have a funeral every time someone dies. Like, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're in for a lot of funerals then.
we're in for losing a lot of torpedo casings.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it also looked like Admiral Cornwell was smiling during that episode, during that. Like, she was just kind of proud of... Yeah, it felt like she was proud of Starfleet tradition and the loyalty and the camaraderie of the crew, and it felt like she wasn't sad, but that her emotion was appropriate.
Maybe she just didn't like Ariam.
I don't think that was true. I also felt like, so there's a couple random things, like the cool camera angle dissolving through the side of the ship when we see the, it actually took a little bit too long. It took like a half second too long before they went down, and you got to see the top of the sick bay or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool at the beginning. And then Spock and Burnham Spock and Burnham being mean to each other is kind of delightful.
Spock and Spurnham.
Spurnham. He's spurning her, for sure. And then, I mean, I kind of enjoyed Georgiou fucking with people. And then apparently nobody told Leland that it's pronounced Kronos.
Kronos.
Yeah, actually it's Kronos.
Kronos.
Something like, yeah. Remember when we taught each other Klingon? Remember that one, like, CD that we listened to?
I remember that little booklet, and I remember the grammar, and I remember the prefixes, and I think the vocabulary we learned was somewhat limited, but I remember most of the grammar, I think.
Oh, that's great. So, a couple things that I also noticed. The ops and the helm consoles on the bridge are shaped like Starfleet arrowheads, like the Delta Shield. So that was a nice little thing. I always find a way to blame myself, Burnham says. Like, she's basically got a strong suit. Like, her strong suit is, I've always got to do more and take more responsibility because I didn't do enough. And
Michael blame him.
Michael blame him, yeah. So I think, I also like that Spock apologized or he forgave her, whatever, for what happened in their youth. Though I think you can read a little bit more subtlety into that than him just being a nice guy. It was him. I think he apologized to produce the tactical utility of Burnham being more present, available, and resourceful for her mission. Like, all of sentient life depends on this mission. So it would be helpful. It would be ideal for her not to be carrying around guilt about me.
Yep.
So that made sense. And, I mean, I guess it's good because he did the right action. But would he have done it without that situation? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Which is pretty much where Spock is generally. I mean, for most of the original series, like, he doesn't quite understand human customs like this or empathy. It takes some time. And I don't think that's going to change over the course of Discovery. I don't think he's necessarily going to, like, suddenly learn empathy. I think over the next 4 or 5 episodes, maybe we'll see some growth and him locking back into logic. But, like, they can't really mess with him because we know where he's going to end up on the Enterprise with Kirk and all of that. So, the episode felt a little dense and a little fast, and I felt like, I don't know. I mean, you couldn't really have done this episode over the course of 2 episodes without adding more plot. And the character stuff was great. I agree with the Penske File guys on that. That's actually surprisingly pretty much all I have to say about this, except for talking about the time crystal, which I'm pretty sure we aren't going to have anything meaningful to say about that either.
Well, no, time crystals are real. This is a real thing. Yeah, this is a thing that was, it was in the news, some kind of quantum physics thing about 2 years ago. I don't really remember it in enough detail to say anything about it, but it's some kind of, like, structure which is crystalline in the structure of its time or something. It is an actual science term, a time crystal.
Wow.
Surprisingly. It sounds like something from an RPG, but it is real.
Yeah, it's something from, like, Final Fantasy.
There's another thing that we should talk about, though, which is how Leland meets his end.
I don't think he's dead.
Well, he had a hard time there. We should just to remind our listeners, he's, like, looking very carefully into some thing, and then these needles pop out and stab him in the eye.
That was really satisfying.
That's how they should have taken out Michael Burnham.
I guess. That sounds pretty mean-spirited.
That's got a countdown to your eyes being stabbed. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Oh, man. So, yeah, you're right. Time crystal is a real thing. I'll do some research, I guess, afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can report next time. I don't really remember enough details. But what is time crystal?
It is, in fact, a real thing. So maybe they were doing a thing. But, yeah, so time crystal. And then I'm pretty sure that was Control, which is great because it means Control is still alive and kicking, and maybe it'll take over the Section 31 ship and fight against Discovery, or maybe Leland will just be in Control and or he'll be Control.
So the Red Angel is reaching back in the past to save humanity. Is Control from the future also reaching back into the past to ensure its own existence?
Yeah, so that was the thing. We couldn't leave the wormholes open because the wormholes, that's Control is following the Red Angel through. And like it did when it took control of the probe and sent the probe back.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah,
let's talk about Control.
They've gone all in on this future AI concept. This is the Roko's Basilisk idea from the rationalist community, this all-powerful AI in the future that reaches back into the past in order to assemble itself and punishes anyone who doesn't do something that results in its eventual creation. It's a pretty scary idea. A lot of people say things like capitalism is an invention of Roko's Basilisk. Capitalism is actually AI assembling itself out of the past.
Well, that's interesting and horrifying.
So I'm just glad. I bet the authors just are, like, familiar with these concepts, and it's also a pretty common. If you look at, like, patterns in the common paranoid delusions that schizophrenics get, this is also one that comes up quite a bit.
That there's an AI assembling itself from the future?
Maybe not an AI, but some entity in the future that is assembling that is manipulating the past in order to create itself in a malicious way.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, other than the grandfather paradox stuff, I didn't find much to sink my teeth into intellectually. I mean, I guess we could talk a little more about Control, but it's basically that Control is cleverer than they think. And Control, I mean, according to the novel, Control exists on every piece of technology in parallel. So, you know, you better believe it's going to have some sort of redundancy, and it's not actually going to be centered or stuck in one space station or even one division of Starfleet. I mean, in order to gather all the intelligence that it does, it needs to be everywhere. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to more of that.
Yeah, me too.
And then also this weird, it reminds me of Anorax from Year of Hell, the way that, what's her name, Burnham's mother, talks about time. Time is vicious. I suffered all this stuff from time. Of course, he was just crazy, right? I think he was just crazy. Was that what we decided last year?
I think he was slowly driven crazy by the process he was going through.
Yeah.
Time is viscous. That's what she should have said. Time is a viscous paste.
Time is a viscous fluid. Yeah. The only other thing there is for me to mention about this is, like, romance with a person from Section 31. I thought that was pretty cool. Like Burnham and Tyler. That was good. I mean, like, you have to imagine that there are some people in Section 31 who are actually empathic and sympathetic and doing what they believe is right and doing the best they can. And so for her to be involved with him, it's interesting. It's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I think other than the people that they pulled out of the Mirror Universe, I don't think people go into Section 31 because they want to be evil, or even just because they want to wear black leather. They probably do it because they think it ultimately has a good purpose.
Yeah.
Do you think that's real leather, or do you think it's pleather?
Oh, I think the future is vegan.
Well, they could replicate real leather.
Exactly. Oh, I see. So is it replicated real leather, or is it real leather? Yeah.
Maybe it's space leather. All right. I see that idea really landed.
We've got dead air, people. We've got dead air. I mean, the episode was decent. I think it's only. I don't have much to say that makes it even better, though. I mean, listening to the highest form of the story, I don't get much higher than what we've got. And, like, I like that I don't think Spock was operating on the basis of empathy is the problem. That would have been a moment of compassion for me, and it would have made me really happy about Spock. But, man, I don't think he's feeling her. I think it's all, and I don't think he's going to feel anybody until, like, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. So, I mean, I don't think he felt people then. I think it was only later on that he ended up actually feeling people. So.
Hey, well, we already know where this guy's going.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with a prequel. There's no drama in character building. Except with these other characters. The only drama we've got is the transporter accident and when it will happen.
Yeah, that's like the impending thing in the future. That's, the clock's ticking down until that.
So, yeah. Any final thoughts on the Red Angel?
I thought it was pretty fun. That's my characterization of this episode. Pretty fun.
Yeah, it was certainly captivating, and it was certainly like I wanted to know what happened, and I was drawn in. And it was a decent episode. I'll give it an 8.9 out of 10.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll give it a 9 just to be round.
I mean, there was something that didn't happen that would have had it be extraordinary on all registers, but it didn't happen, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't actually feel compelled to dig into that. I don't know what it was. It would make it actually better. I mean, I think there's a chance that it'll get better when we know what the Red Angel, why the Red Angel was acting.
Yeah, there's going to be some kind of complicated thing with Burnham and her mother, and we don't know if Burnham's mother went back in time before all the other Red Angel stuff or after all the other Red Angel stuff from the perspective of the future timeline. Maybe, who knows, man. It's a whole Wild West of timelines.
Yeah. So anyway,
on that note, it's a whole Wild West. Goodbye.
This is what I get when I do 2 public speaking events in the same day. I think all of my juju got used for the earlier one. Yeah.
That's cool.
But we've shared our thoughts. I don't think we really harvested. I mean, I don't really want to go back to this episode either. I don't want to watch it a third time.
No, we need to do 2 more intensive episodes on this until we really get everything out of this. Frame by frame analysis.
I'm done with this episode.
It's going to be like Leland with those things shooting into his eyes, except it's going to be us watching this episode so many times.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody wants that. Nobody at all wants that. So yeah, Richard, thanks for being on.
Right.
Any final thoughts?
No.
That's pretty quick. I guess this episode is done. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Red Angel. Thank you for listening. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or not like, and comment why you don't like. Or comment, for the love of God, someone comment.
And turn on notifications.
Turn on notifications. Subscribe, please. All right, this is not the best episode. I think we should probably ask Control to delete